perhaps. Go ahead, Lisa.
Judy, there are protesters. Protesters have now broken into the U.S. Capitol, not through this door. I'm told by a side door, but I have seen protesters at this location. I am now removing to a different location for the moment. I will come back here if I can. I saw one protester who has gotten into the building telling them, oh, that protester has now opened the front door of the Capitol to let his fellow protesters in. There is a single Capitol police officer trying to stop this on his own. He is trying to get in between the crowd, trying to enter the U.S. Capitol. Just one police officer trying to stop a crowd of dozens pushing their way inside, and he is unable to stop them. They are now slowly making their way through what is a bottleneck, a small opening in this Capitol door. I'm going to step back because you can hear the shouting. I'm carefully watching the situation to keep myself safe. There are now some it looks like riot police also entering the door, trying to get around the protesters. It is a chaotic scene.
A stunning set of developments. Our Lisa Desjardins at the Capitol describing the Trump supporters who are gathered protesting the results of the election, the what is supposed to be the formal count of the electoral vote. Today, they are gathered outside the Capitol. They have now pushed their way into the Capitol. We've heard Lisa Desjardins. Lisa, we are urging you to stay as safe as possible. But they have pushed their way in. They broke glass. They've broken glass on a door or a window. You can now see video of protesters inside Statuary Hall. This is normally an area where people, there are Capitol Police who monitor. You have to show an ID of some sort. You have to be there for a reason. The public is normally welcome, but in order and with identification. And this is clearly a breach of that. These are people coming through. We don't know what their intention is. I believe they'd be walking from the House side to the Senate side, but I can't tell. Maybe Lisa is there on the House side of the Capitol, and Lisa, I'm prepared to go to you whenever you have some additional reporting. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Judy?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I have some of the protesters standing with me who have broken in, and I'm going to do an interview over the phone. Very good. Sir, if you don't mind, you're on air with PBS. Thank you for talking with me. Can you tell me your name?
No, I can't.
Okay. Tell me, I know that you just broke into the U.S. Capitol. That's fine. Tell me why you just took this action.
We're fed up with our politicians.
This is obviously an extreme evidence.
The police shot at us first before we did anything.
Did the police shoot at you today? Are you personally saying you saw the police shoot you? You were shot by a rubber bullet today. Can I see that, please? I do. I see it. Okay. But tell me that you do not think this is violent, breaking into the U.S. Capitol?
Was 1776 violent?
You are saying this is on the same level as the American Revolution.
Might approach that. These might be the first stepping stones.
What is your goal here? What are you going to do after you stop talking with me?
I'm going to keep exploring this building, seeing what they're... Yeah, we were just looking for the bathroom and I stumbled up there.
I mean, do you understand that this is something that you're telling people all over America that they should tear down public buildings? Is that a message that you want to send?
If the time comes where you feel like that's necessary, it's in our Constitution that we can raise up against our government.
What is it that has made you so angry? And this is my last question for you. I think people don't understand what is it exactly?
The election was stolen from Donald Trump. That's the main reason most of these people are here. Not me personally, but most of these people who Donald Trump did not win the election.
Thank you for talking to me. All right. So these are two of the protesters that have now entered the U.S. Capitol. You can tell it is a mix of anger and also, frankly, just being cavalier about what they themselves are doing, perhaps not understanding the seriousness of action that they've just taken.
Lisa Desjardins there at the Capitol for us reporting. She's been talking with the protesters who've broken into the building. We have to say broken in because they've not gone through normal channels. They came to Washington to protest, to support President Trump, and now they have gone into the Capitol which is normally a place where entrance is regulated for safety reasons.
Just to bring everyone up to speed, about half an hour ago, vehicle barriers that had been set up a good 100 yards away or so from the Capitol were first breached by a group of protesters. Capitol Hill police retreated a little bit more. Then hundreds more protesters started to stream up this walkway in front of the Capitol. You can see those crowds now continuing to grow. And I have to tell you, people still arriving here at this location from every corner around that I can see. You now see people who have breached all the way up to the entrance of the Capitol on this side, on one set of stairs. On another, Capitol Hill police have also retreated further back another 20 or 30 yards, and the protesters continue to gain ground. It is a remarkable scene. It's a very, very strange scene to see people holding Trump flags and MAGA flags and "Don't Tread on Me" flags and a number of other messages, waving those flags and chanting "Stop the Steal" and USA on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. It's unclear exactly what they intend to do. We know that there have been a few moments where everything seems to kind of ramp up. People make a run for some of the doors. They're stopped by a few members of the Capitol Police. Nothing has gotten violent yet. I say yet because I have to say, over the last few minutes, tensions have really increased. And it's very uneasy. It's very hard to see what's going to happen next. But also, it's very clear to see Capitol Hill police are gravely outnumbered. There's a very small presence here. There's a few cars parked along outside the Capitol barriers here as well. But the crowds continue to arrive unabated, and they are streaming closer and closer up to the Capitol. What you see now is a massive crowd of Trump supporters that have taken over the steps of the Capitol, and it's unclear what, if anything, could move them. Now, occasionally we do hear these loud bang sounds. We believe those to be flashbangs, which police will sometimes deploy to try to break up a crowd or get them to disperse. They don't seem to be working. The crowds only get bigger and bigger. Mostly calm at the moment, but Judy, I have to say it's very uneasy, and every few minutes someone else seems to make a run for the Capitol. Tensions seem to rise again. Someone else yells and the chanting begins again and again. It's very hard to see how a situation like this gets diffused. Judy?
Very hard to see, Amna. We have learned in the last few minutes that the mayor of the District of Columbia, Mayor Muriel Bowser, has called for a curfew in Washington, D.C. to start at 6 o'clock tonight through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's just a little after 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, so we're a little more than 3 hours away from that curfew.
This is not how this day usually unfolds. This is not a scene any of us have ever witnessed before, and yet here we are. Hundreds of people have taken to the steps of the Capitol to try to stop the process that they believe has been stolen.
Here we are, exactly right. And as you say, Amna, unsettled, unpredictable. We don't know where this is headed. I do want to report that President Trump tweeted just about 5 minutes ago an appeal for calm. I'm just going to read his very brief tweet. He said, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful!" Exclamation point. Interesting the president tweeted this since he was the one who called for his supporters and to show up in Washington to protest the results of the election. Lisa Desjardins, inside the Capitol, to you. There you are. Lisa, can you hear me? I can see Lisa. I don't know if I can.
Where they have been, but I do hear shouting as police seem to one by one be taking down the protesters, telling them to get on the ground, trying to control the situation.
All right, Lisa, we're going to let you get to a safe place.
Thank you, sir.
And while the police attempt to clear the protesters out. And we'll come back to you as soon as we can. We see police armed. We saw an armed law enforcement officer there. We know there are others. So they are trying to restore some peace.
It looks like, I don't know if you're still with.
So they are trying to restore some peace.